Okay, and why else should you use LanguageScreen? Well, you will often hear us at Oxford, we talk about it a lot, say that LanguageScreen is objective, it's standardized, and it's validated. So what do all of these things mean and why does it matter? So in terms of objectivity, for accurate results of any test, it's really vital that a test is delivered in the same way and scored in the same way each time a child is assessed. And also that responses are marked either correct or incorrect using consistent guidelines. Now, tests which include more sort of observational, subjective components absolutely have their place, and they can provide really useful sort of holistic understanding of a child's abilities. But they can, and it's good to be aware of this, obviously, that they can also be open to bias. And our aim with LanguageScreen is to provide a quick but very accurate temperature test of a child's language abilities. And so for this reason, we provide as much support as possible to ensure that the test is administered objectively and in the same way every time. So just for example, there's a sort of an in-app voiceover which provides instructions to the children, and there's also scoring guidance provided throughout. So next comes standardized or standardization. So whereas a raw score, and by raw score, I just mean the real sort of a child got 8 out of 10 correct. That's their raw score. That tells you how well a child has scored in that particular test. Now, a standard score in comparison will tell you how a child has scored in comparison to a large group of children of the same age. Now, doing this standardization process and doing it properly requires a really large data set of assessments. And the bigger the data set, the more accurate and reliable that test is, that sort of standardized score that's provided. And LanguageScreen is standardized using over 500,000 assessments. In fact, we're over 600,000 assessments now, and that's only growing. The more assessments that are completed, the more data we can kind of add into that process. So you can be really confident that you're kind of getting absolutely the most accurate standard score as you can as part of that assessment. And finally, validation. So assessments that are sort of administered by speech and language therapists, these kind of really well-established assessments have been validated, and that means that they have evidence of being highly accurate at measuring children's language skills. 2 of these sort of traditional assessments are called the KELF and the Renfrew Action Picture Test, or the RAPT for short. Now, in one of our nearly randomized control trials, speech and language specialists assessed children with these 2 traditional assessments, and school staff assessed those same children with LanguageScreen. And the results were compared, and it was found that they correlated almost perfectly. So they correlated at 0.95. So this is really, really important, because what we're showing here is that validated, well-established assessments carried out by trained experts, speech and language specialists, can produce the same level of accuracy or the same sort of accurate results as a LanguageScreen assessment conducted by school staff. So it's kind of putting that sort of that power into the hands of schools. So that's why we always talk about this. And I should say that we have published a paper now about the development, validation and standardization that went into LanguageScreen. So if you are interested in learning more about this, then please just scan the QR code on the slide at the moment, and that will take you to the research paper where we go into this in a lot more detail.